Welcome, Commanders, to another deep dive into the most epic battles in galactic history. Today, we're dissecting the legendary tidal maneuver, a masterclass in tactical genius that unfolded in the lethal gravitational embrace of the white dwarf Aurora Nascenti. The year is 2472. The stakes, a quantum relic, an artifact of immense power being transported aboard the freighter Stellar Nomad *. Escorting it were the finest ships of the Heliac Coalition, 3 Ares-class frigates flying in their signature V formation. The scene was deceptively serene. Aurora Nascenti, a collapsed star with a gravitational pull that could tear ships apart, was surrounded by a glowing halo of ionized debris. But this beauty hid a deadly secret. As the Coalition fleet approached, their long-range sensors screamed. Something was wrong. Subtle distortions, ripples in the light bending around the white dwarf. It wasn't natural. It was a gravitational lens, an advanced form of camouflage. Hidden within were the Umbral Hunters, notorious pirates known for their stealth and ruthlessness. But they were waiting. The Heliac commander, Admiral Eva Rostova, immediately ordered battle stations. She knew this mission had just gone from a simple escort to a fight for survival. The air on the bridge of her flagship, the Sunstone crackled with tension. Every crew member knew the reputation of the Umbral Hunters. They were ghosts, striking from nowhere and vanishing without a trace. But this time, they weren't just facing a freighter. They were facing the disciplined might of the Heliac Coalition. Rostova's eyes narrowed, fixed on the sensor readings. "They're using the dwarf's gravity to hide," she muttered. "Clever, but not clever enough." She relayed her orders, her voice calm and steady, a beacon of confidence in the impending storm. The frigates adjusted their formation, tightening the shield around the Stellar Nomad *. The escort mission was over. The battle for Aurora Nascenti had just begun. The first contact was as sudden as it was devastating. Without warning, streaks of invisible energy tore through the void. Neutrino spears, the Umbral Hunters' signature weapon. They bypassed conventional energy shields. Slicing through the reinforced hull of the frigate Helios Prime like a hot knife through butter. Alarms blared across the Heliac fleet as the ship's portside shields collapsed, venting atmosphere and superheated plasma into space. The Hunters had drawn first blood, but Admiral Rostova didn't flinch. She had anticipated this. Launch reflective drones. Target their energy signatures and paint them. Her command echoed across the fleet's comms network. In response, dozens of small, agile drones swarmed from the remaining frigates. These weren't weapons. They were mirrors. They positioned themselves with breathtaking precision, intercepting the incoming neutrino spears. The deadly beams were deflected, sent careening harmlessly into the accretion disk of the white dwarf. Simultaneously, the drones fired brilliant blue lasers, not as weapons, but as targeting designators. The beams locked onto the subtle gravitational distortions where the Umbral ships were hiding. Suddenly, the ghosts had a form. The Heliac gunners now had targets. Fire plasma cannons, concentrated volley, Rostova commanded. Blazing bolts of superheated matter erupted from the Heliac frigates, following the blue laser paths. Explosions blossomed in the darkness as the plasma impacted the Umbral Hunters' cloaking fields, causing them to flicker and fail. For the first time, the sleek obsidian hulls of the enemy ships became visible, predatory, angular designs that seemed to drink the light. The initial ambush had failed. The Heliac coalition had weathered the storm and was now fighting back, turning the Hunters' greatest strength, their stealth, into a liability. The engagement had escalated into a full-blown firefight, a deadly dance of energy and matter in the shadow of a dying star. The battle raged, a chaotic exchange of fire. The Umbral Hunters, now exposed, were ferocious. They were more maneuverable, their smaller ships darting through the debris field with reckless abandon. The Heliac frigates, though more powerful, were being outmaneuvered. Admiral Rostova watched the tactical display, her mind racing. A direct slugfest would lead to a battle of attrition, one she couldn't afford to lose, not with the quantum relic at stake. She needed to change the battlefield itself. Her gaze fell on the swirling, gravitational well of Aurora Nascenti. An idea, as dangerous as it was brilliant, formed in her mind. All ships prepare for tidal maneuver on my mark. Helm, plot a course for a high-risk elliptical dive. We're taking them for a ride. There were gasps on the bridge. A high-risk dive meant skimming the Roach limit, the point of no return where the White Dwarf's gravity would shred their ships. It was insane. But it was also their only chance. Execute. Rostova's voice left no room for doubt. The Heliac fleet broke formation, turning their noses toward the star. Engines screamed as they accelerated, diving into the most dangerous region of the system. The Umbral Hunters, sensing a retreat, gave chase, eager to finish them off. They followed the coalition ships into the deadly gravitational embrace. This was exactly what Rostova had planned. As the fleet plunged deeper, gravitational stress alarms began to shriek. The hulls of the ships groaned under the immense tidal forces. Now a Heliac corvette, the Firebrand veered sharply. Its captain jettisoned the ship's external thermal plates. The plates superheated from the engine strain, instantly vaporized in the stellar radiation, creating a massive cloud of incandescent plasma. It was a perfect countermeasure. The Umbral Hunters, flying directly behind them, were blinded. Their sensors were overwhelmed by the plasma burst, their targeting systems thrown into chaos. For a precious few seconds, they were flying blind in the most dangerous part of the space. The Heliac fleet used that window to slingshot around the White Dwarf, using its gravity to perform a gut-wrenching turn that the pursuing hunters couldn't possibly match. They had weaponized the star itself. The tidal maneuver was a success, but the Umbral Hunters were tenacious. They recovered from the plasma blast, their fury renewed. They were still cloaked, their gravitational lensing making them infuriatingly difficult to target. The Heliac fleet had bought themselves a moment, but they needed to end this. The captain of the freighter, Stellar Nomad *, who had been observing the battle, saw his opportunity. "Admiral Hostova," he transmitted, "we can help." Preparing to deploy magnetic sails, Rostova acknowledged. It was time for the freighter to play its part. From the Stellar Nomad *''s cargo hold, massive sails unfurled. But these weren't for propulsion. They pulsed with a powerful magnetic charge, and as they did, they released a massive cloud of microscopic ferromagnetic dust. The dust, caught in the complex magnetic fields, spread rapidly through the combat zone. And then the magic happened. The dust was drawn to the cloaked Umbriel ships, clinging to their hulls and cloaking fields. Their gravitational camouflage was useless against the simple laws of magnetism. Suddenly, the ghostly outlines of the entire Umbriel fleet were revealed, painted in glittering, swirling dust. They were completely exposed. All ships target the weak points. Fire Gauss cannons, Rostova commanded. The Heliac gunners didn't need to be told twice. With clear targets, they unleashed hell. Solid slugs, accelerated to near light speed by the Gauss cannons, hammered into the invisible Umbriel ships. They targeted engines, weapon emplacements, and command deck's weak points revealed by the clinging dust. An Umbriel fighter's engine exploded, sending it into an uncontrollable spin. Another lost its navigation, its trajectory bending irrevocably toward the White Dwarf's gravity well, pulled to its doom. The tide of the battle had turned decisively. The Umbriel hunters' greatest advantage had been stripped away, and now they were paying the price. Defeated and exposed, the Umbriel hunters made a final, desperate move. From their flagship, they launched their deadliest weapons, 3 Singularity missiles. These weren't conventional warheads. They created temporary, unstable micro-black holes upon detonation, capable of swallowing a ship whole. The missiles streaked toward the Stellar Nomad *, ignoring all countermeasures. There was no shield that could stop them. Panic began to set in on the freighter's bridge, but Admiral Rostova was a step ahead. "Captain of the Nomad," she said over the com, her voice impossibly calm, "I am synchronizing our jump drives. On my mark, execute a 0.7-second micro-warp jump. The timing must be exact." It was an unheard-of maneuver. A warp jump, no matter how short, created a massive spatio-temporal distortion. To do it in the middle of a fleet next to a gravity well was suicidal. But it was their only hope. The freighter's captain acknowledged, his hands flying over the controls. The Singularity missiles were seconds from impact. 3, 2, 1, mark. At Rostova's command, the Stellar Nomad vanished. For less than a second, it blinked out of existence, jumping a few hundred kilometers forward. The effect was catastrophic for the missiles. The warp jump's reverberation, a shock wave in the fabric of space-time, hit them at the exact moment of their planned detonation. The unstable singularities they were meant to create collapsed prematurely. Instead of expanding outward, they imploded, swallowing themselves and the space around them in a flash of warped light. The stellar nomad reappeared, its precious cargo safe. The relic was secure. The umbral hunters had played their final card and lost. Broken and outmaneuvered at every turn, they had no choice but to retreat. Their remaining ships turned tail, accelerating past the Roach threshold and disappearing into deep space. The Battle of Aurora Nascenti was over. The Heliac coalition, through brilliant tactics and sheer audacity, had won. It was a victory that would be studied in war colleges for centuries to come. Thanks for watching, Commanders. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of tactical triumph. Until next time, fly safe.